All right. It's indeed a very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us at this edition of The Tackle. It is the 17th of November 2021, tarehe 27 mwezi wa 11 mwaka 2021. Natumai kwamba umeamka vizuri na uko tayari kuweza kutackle siku yako inapoanza. It's a Wednesday of the 17th of November 2021, tarehe 17 mwezi wa 11 mwaka 2021. Mwezi mmoja to Christmas. It's 1 month to Christmas. Merry Christmas in advance once again, just in case you don't get to hear from me again. Merry Christmas. Na pia unaweza anza kutuma zawadi ya Merry Christmas na Boxing Day in advance. Naanza kula kidogo deposit. Karibuni sana. It's another edition of the Tackle Siasa, Wednesday edition of the Tackle, the 17th of November 2021, and we are ready to tackle today with you. Tafadhali karibuni. When you join, please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and that please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. This is the Tackle and begins now. Tuko na Governor P. Mushendu ambaye amepotea sana kidogo, lakini amerudi. Alikuwa ametuambia atachukua kiti ya Meru. I don't know what happened. Tuko na Odweo hapa. Na tuko na ndugu yetu hapa mgeni leo amefika mara ya kwanza. Tengeneza shati kwanza kidogo, kola. Osha kola. Karibu Kenya. Asante sana. Haya, asante. Acha tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe, alafu tukirudi basi nakuja kuwapa salamu zenu. Kijana Bishop, unaweza tuombea?
Shall we pray? Father God, we want to bless you. We want to thank you. Thank you for availing an opportunity to us to be here as we discuss matters of national importance. We pray that you may guide us. And once you're done, we shall be careful to give you glory and honor. In Jesus' name we give thanks.
Amen. Asante sana. Thank you so much, Governor P. Mushendu. Naona ngona maamka hapa tayari mapema pia. Tafadhali pia nichukulie. Sholim Kibet Benachi, Sholim hapa, asante sana. Ernest Lagat, good morning sir, good morning to you. Zar Shakim kijanangu anasema good morning from Dubai, asante sana. It's your second anniversary as a follower. Thank you so much for following us for all 2 years. Ernest Lagat, Jogoro Nairobi Kolokta, asante. Sholim Kibet Benachi, good morning GB, good morning to you. Balozi Eric Meja anasema we waseregea Likuyani, Kakamega County already logged in. Mimi ni Asla, je wewe. Haya, Langat Geoffrey, good morning GB. Tim Kemboy, Laredo Texas logged in. Agnes Kimnai, good morning to you. Say Tala, good morning. CK Kanisha Siasa. Haya, Edwin Kibrugut Arab Chumba, good morning from Kapenguria, tuned into the best platform full of great insight. Asante sana, good morning. Mili Kosgei, good to see you. Wepotea sana sijakuwa na hii wiki. Shout out to you, good morning to you. CK Kanisha, good morning. Kazi mzuri, asante sana. Agnes Kimnai, salimia Odweo, mesalimia Haimba Wandabusi. Morning Gerald, Haimba Wandabusi watching from Kiret County of Trans Nzoia. Ruth Chep Kosgei, good morning to you. Mili Kosgei, Western Australia, tuko locked, good morning. Boaz 029 niko ndani. Moses Kebenenyi Gadet niko ndani kabisa from Kapseret. Ni Kebenenyi Moses, Mheshimiwa Moses Kebenenyi Gadet. Asante sana. Siasa edition of Wednesday 17 November 2021. Tunaenda kulipa madeni kwanza haraka ubesi, alafu tukirudi basi na kuja kuingia kwenye mjadala wa leo. Haya. Naanza na watu wangu wa Maridadi. Maridadi Motors zinakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuagiza gari kwa bei nafuu zaidi. If you are planning to buy a car, it could never, naambianga hivi kila siku ya kwamba gari sio starehe tena. A car is not a luxury item anymore. It's a necessity, it's a need. It's a need that you need to be able to move around and do things for yourself. Kwa hivyo Maridadi Motors zinakupa nafasi ya kuweza kumiliki gari kwa njia rahisi zaidi. When you import with them directly, you get to save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings. 300,000 Kenyan shillings when you import with Maridadi Motors, you get to save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings. Inakupa nafasi pia ya kuweza kuwekeza pesa yako. If you have some money that you want to invest, you can invest in the import to sell model where you get to earn up to 15% returns on your investment. Pia inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kusave kwenye Maridadi Motor Sacco. Maridadi Motor Sacco inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kusave kwa njia mbili. If you are saving to buy a unit, you save 50% total value of the unit, and if you also saving as an investment, you get to earn up to 15% returns on investment. Kama unataka kununua gari, una save 50% value of the car, alafu nyingine basi unaanza kulipia mdogo kiasi kuendesha. Hakuna mambo ya CRB, hakuna mambo ya bank statements, hakuna mambo yote ambayo unaiona. Unaenda tu una save pesa pale mdogo, alafu basi historia yako ya saving inaweza kupa nafasi ya kuweza kumiliki gari kwa njia rahisi na shwari zaidi. Maridadi Driving Academy as well gives you an opportunity to be the best driver in town. If you're also doing a refresher, please, kama Mshendo unajua alijifunza na lori. Siku hizi kuna magari za computer. Kwa hivyo we're going to do a refresher like Mshendo. Unaenda pale unalipia pesa kidogo, unakufanyia refresher kwa njia shwari zaidi. Hiyo ni Maridadi Driving Academy. Pia kama unajenga, hakuna mahali pengine kuweza kununua tools za kujenga roofing materials kama sio Rexa Roofing. Rexa Roofing inakupa best roofing materials in town, the best roofing materials in the country, direct imports from the manufacturer with 10 years workmanship guarantee and 50 years product guarantee. Workmanship guarantee of 10 years. This means that we'll always be on site to ensure that within 10 years your roof is not leaking, your roof is well put. If there's a problem, you'll be fixed. 10 years workmanship guarantee and 50 years product guarantee. 50 years, I don't know where you'll be in the next 50 years, but I can tell you that your roof will still be there with you. So there's no other way to roof and the roof with Rexa Roofing. And they're telling you that as you turn 10 years old, we are giving you 10% discount. Asilimia 10 discount kwenye waterproofing materials kama ni waterproofing membrane ama waterproofing liquid from Rexa Roofing. Rexa Roofing roofs your world. This gives you quality roofing shingles, stone coated tiles, UPVC water harvesting gutters and waterproofing materials. Haya, basi pia tuko na wangwana hapa wa Sweet Tunda. Sweet Tunda, sijui sample yangu ya mango imeenda wapi, lakini basi labda tairudia takuja baadaye hapo, sijui sample zangu ziko wapi. Haya, nakuja kuangalia, lakini Sweet Tunda 100% Kenyan. That is an indulgence, sweet indulgence without any form of guilt. If you want to indulge in the snack that you don't get to feel any guilt, basi tafuta pale Sweet Tunda 100% natural Kenyan. Pia inakupa dried fruits na pia kuna granola ambayo unaiona pale kwenye screen. Unafanya sampling pole basi utaona kwamba product safi zaidi. Nakwambia mahali unaweza nunua, kimbia pale Carrefour ama uende kwenye all the leading supermarkets, that is Chandarana Food and also Carrefour. Utaipata pale, alafu uweze kuhakikisha kwamba unapata breakfast kama chakula yako ama snack yako kwa njia ya afya zaidi. Pia pale Disquare fourth floor Kecha building, unahakikisha kwamba unapata mng'aro kamili. Pale kwa Dandan, mwambie unapata discount yako asilimia 20. Asante sana Mushendu, good morning.
Good morning to you, Bitok.
How have you been?
I've been okay. Up and down. Kuzunguka Limuru. Very serious about the Limuru parliamentary seat. We are bringing a change with a difference. It's not just bringing a change, it's also bringing a change that is going to be effective and it will be felt on the ground. Mm-hmm. It's not a simple journey, it's quite a hard task, but we are equal to the task. So sisi tumekuwa tukizunguka pale Limuru, tukivurugana na wao kidogo, tunapigana na yeye.
Navurugana ama unaomba kura?
Ni kuvurugana tu na wao. No, the other day I saw the member of parliament for Kasarani, Mercy Gakuya, being used by the area member of parliament to attack me. I used to serve with Mercy Gakuya at the Democratic Party when Munyao was the chairman. Those days when Kibaki was the president, we were the leaders of the Young Democrats there. And I saw a clip of her trying to tell me that I am young, I should allow the current MP to continue working. And I'm like, we are part of the people who campaigned for the current MP when he was the MP for his first term, 2007, when he got elected. And he counted on our expertise to become the member of parliament then. Of course, at some point we broke ranks and he was not re-elected in 2013. He got re-elected again in 2017. That tells you that if we had the capacity to organize and plan that he becomes the member of parliament, then we also have the capacity to actually ascend to that position. We have the capacity to deliver to the people of Limuru. So being in Limuru up and down, I have had you challenge me on the Kiago seat in Meru. We had a hinge, the matter of that seat went up to High Court. The UDA coordinator, that is South Imenti coordinator, Saresio Duranera, went to IEBC and raised an objection. Subsequently, when the IEBC had his objection, they decided to throw our candidate out of the race. As a party, Chama cha Kazi and the candidate in his own personal capacity, we felt that decision was not constitutional, it was not legal. We went to High Court. Subsequently, the High Court had to stop the by-election until that matter was adjudicated. And it has since been adjudicated and our candidate has since been put back on the ballot. And the by-election is happening on 16th of December. I still maintain that Kiago seat is Chama Chakazi seat. We have done our home ground very well. We have never left the ground, despite the fact that there were some issues here and there. So on 16th, we will do the formal thing, accept the win, and we move on to other challenges.
Accept the win or the loss?
No, accept the win.
Okay.
I'll be here, and I'm promising you that class, I'll be here, because one of the things that drives our party, Chama Chakazi, is numbers. And we believe in numbers. We do not go blindly.
So your candidate is still running?
Our candidate is still there. He is still actually 2 other independent opinion poll, other than the one that we conduct as a party, still puts him ahead. Of course, one of the biggest challenges in most parties in Kenya, including UDA, it is organization. And the moment a party lacks organization, that is the beginning of the head of a party, or that the trouble of that party will begin at that moment. And one of the things that we have been able to achieve in the few months we have been in existence as Chama Chakazi is have a well-organized team. I will tell you that well-organized team that has worked with Moses Kuria for a number of years now. We were able to capture, we first started by capturing the MCA seat in Gaturi, in Muranga, that is Kangema constituency, not Kangema, Kiharu constituency. We went ahead to win Juja constituency for the Honorable Koibori. And subsequently, we were here with you when the Deputy President invited MK and his team to take over and take charge of Kiambaa, where subsequently Mushendo became the chief agent of that UDA candidate in Kiambaa, who is now the member of parliament. And I think that's where the people make a mistake of thinking that I had been a member of UDA. It's good to put clarity.
But you were a member of UDA before you moved to the other one?
Let me tell you.
Before you moved to PEP. Was it called PEP?
No, let me tell you. I joined politics 2006, BTOC. And 2006, I became a member of the Democratic Party
DP.
and DP. And I became a leader in the Young Democrat unit. I stayed as a member of DP from 2006 to 2011 December, when I joined a party called People's Party of Kenya, PPK. Can I surprise you? I've been a member of PPK for over 10 years. I never joined TNA when it came. I never joined Jubilee when it was formed. I have just moved from, I resigned from the People's Party of Kenya last year around November. Was somehow in 3-4 months involved with a party called PEPS, People's Empowerment Party. I was not a member, I was just an affiliate, because that is the party we used to possession the wins that we had with Moses Kuria. And come February this year, I became a founding member of Chama Chakazi.
CCK.
We subsequently, this May, we were given a provisional registration as a party. And on 17th of August, 2021, we were officially given our registration certificate by the Registrar of Political Parties as a fully-fledged political party that has met all the requirements. And we are building our party as Chama Chakazi. That is why I have decided to avoid this UDA discussion, because I'm not a member of UDA. I may not be a party to what happens in that party. I was only affiliated with UDA as far as Kiambaa constituency by-elections were concerned. We were working with the SG, then a very gracious woman, learning the party there. And we were also working with the party executive director then to deliver the Kiambaa win. And I say this is what I will say about, as much as I can say about the UDA party. The UDA party, being the mother party of the deputy president, who is my presidential candidate, needs to get their house in order, because I would say being that home for the DP, They need to get organized, because if they are not organized well, even those sister parties who they do not want to actually recognize will not be very effective in terms of delivering the presidency. Okay. And I keep saying that those people who are close to the DP, they must, and I repeat, they must let him know that you cannot have the cake and eat it. It is either you are marketing a party or you are marketing the presidency, your candidature. Okay. Because one has to take precedence over the other. And if you ask me, for now, the deputy president does not need antagonism as far as party politics are concerned. What he needs is to concentrate on his candidature as the president of the republic.
You want him to run as an independent? Because,
no.
Because he has to run
on
a
ticket.
ticket.
I do not want him to run. In fact, I would be disappointed if he would not market his party UDA. I would be disappointed. But marketing the party is one thing we talk. Being at loggerheads with other parties is another entirely different subject. And I tell you, history is not something most people want to share about, but history teaches us a very serious lesson. Jubilee is a current good lesson of what one political party can do. Today, let me tell you, Senator Mwaura, my friend, who was a former nominated senator, is no longer a member of the Senate. Courtesy of Jubilee. Learned by who? People surrounding the president. People from Mount Kenya, where Mwaura comes from. People who are his pals. Because if you look at the creek that kicked Mwaura is almost they are at par in terms of politically. So here is Mwaura, who was a senator, kicked out by people from his region, from his party, from the people who speak that native language I speak, and he is home. And you want us to start forming a national party, where Mushendo probably will not have a stake on who says in that party. Tomorrow, if I differ with because let me tell you, one of the best checks and balances you can give in a government, it is the legislative arm. Because this is what actually, in terms of policy development of government cannot develop policy and financial development without involving parliament. And therefore, you require a parliament that is as independent as you can. Of course, we know parliament and party loyalties are two different things. But I think if we embrace multipartyism in terms of political parties, what is it that Baba and the rest of people who are doing second liberation, what was it all about? It was all about political parties liberation, allowing people to make independent choices in terms of who do they want to elect, from which party do they want him to. It is not this notion of the one that the current president peddled, which is unfortunate, of I want my soldiers, foot soldiers. You don't need foot soldiers as a president. You just need to bring sound development issues in assembly. And we, as Kenyans, elect competent people who can work with you. And I think for me, that's what should inform the campaign system of the deputy president. Yes, having a very strong party, him as a deputy, as a presidential candidate, is okay. In fact, he should not go to a rally without saying UDA, but UDA should now not form the antagonism war that is currently happening. I've seen Isaac Ruto saying he is not going to disband his party.
Which is okay, because he can go ahead and form a coalition again with other parties.
Exactly, and that's what I'm telling you.
And that's the liberty of parties.
That's what I'm telling you. The Political Parties Act, we talk. It is actually allowing what is called post-election coalition. People of like mind, like us in Chama cha Kazi, our main interest right now is to market the party, come with a different way of doing things in terms of how do we do our nominations and all those things, get as many members of parliament as we can, get as many members of the Senate as we can, get many women reps as we can. Moving forward past 2022 general election, we will have a very formidable Chama cha Kazi party that can actually sit down and negotiate something called post-election coalition, because it's a provision in our Political Parties Act. And I think basically that is what should inform the DP. That let us embrace all the people of the right mind who necessarily are not members of UDA. That when we come to after election, we will form a very strong post-election coalition. And I'll tell you, if, God forbid, if we have a rerun of the presidential election, those strong parties will have already identified who are the members of parliament, how strong our parties are. So they also form a very integral part of how we may do that rerun of the presidential election. But I pray and I hope that we do not have a rerun. So that basically any money that we should be using for Iran can go to add the bottom-up program the president, the deputy president has been talking about. Because any money that would be set for presidential Iran is a very good seed money to add that particular program.
All right. Okay. John Dicky Wanaina, good morning. Isaac Mwao, good morning. Watching from Chokimau. Asante Bet Gideon, good morning, Mr. Bitok. I've been away for a while, but I'm now back. Tuned in from Knox Vegas. My greetings to those viewing. Asante sana Bet Gideon, welcome back. Marius Kipkirui, tuned in from Wilson Airport Business. Karibu sana Marius, it's been a long time. Azul Dayat, good morning. Samson Kiptum, Gerald Bito, good morning to you. Charles Kinywa, good morning. Simon Mwati, good morning. Mombasa Sisini Maasila. Jane Mumbi from Safaris by Jane, good morning. Team Taco, good morning to you. Alice Choge, good morning. Gerald, tuned in from Kibagenge, Trans Nzoia County. Asante sana my sister Alice Choge. MC Robert Cardinal, good morning, live from Dono. Mokumu Linus, okay, morning from USA live. Good to see you, Kumo. Rashid Abdallah, good morning. Gerald Bito nimerudi bro. Morning, nimekuwa msik jamaa. Pole sana bro. Rashid Abdallah, pole sana. Pole sana ndugu yangu kutoka Montreal, pole sana. Marion Eva Chela, good morning. Teta class watching from the city. Kapana 10 years kwa roof ni kidogo. Tunataka kitu inadumu milele. 10 years ni broader ni workmanship guarantee. 10 years is workmanship guarantee. Workmanship guarantee of 10 years. We are telling you that if we roof your home today, we will be there for 10 years to ensure that your roof is doing well. Kama kuna shida kidogo, aba kuna leakage, kuna nini, tunaweza rekebisha kwa njia rahisi zaidi bila kukulipisha. Guarantee ni 50 years product guarantee. Guarantee in 50 years. 50 years utakuwa wapi Marion? 50 years utakuwa wapi Marion? Julius Roy, good morning, watching from Ongata Rongai. Kiteke Justice, good to see my brother. Mwani Makoni County, Katozeni Sub County. Shipai NH Tempeyo, good morning, tuned in from 034 Kajiado County. Alan Kogo, good morning. Takol Justice Chitembwe, Kenya, kumbe everyone is conman. Eric Omondi Sarakasi, anyway karibu asante sana. Eric Omondi alibebwa juju kama ukimani. Good morning Bitok, say hello to Governor Mushendo, tuned in from Park Inn by Radisson parking area. Good to see you Kimani. Kama ukimani, Mountain View Executive Cabs in the building. Asante. Ask Mebu, do we really need 89 parties in Kenya to feel that we are a multi-party democracy?
Mwambie US there
David
is over
Kitur.
200 parties.
David Kitur, how big is the US? David Kitur, watching from Kapsabet, MC Kalia. Good morning, brothers. Joel Arama, morning, Gerald. Good morning to you, my brother, Chairman Diaspora Edition. Martin Goni, tuned in from Kikuyu as always. Mpotea sana ndugu yangu Martin. Arapto Wet, keep to him. Morning, sir. I'm watching from Blangata. Kimtai Rotich, good morning, sir. Getting you clear from Kentucky, US. Asante sana. Robert Degwa, Atlanta, tuko ndani. Sam logged in, boss, tuned in from Kampala. Not good here, though. What's happening in Kampala? Tuambie ndugu yangu Sam Sirma. Jana niliona Kampala Kiliumana kidogo. Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Mafikisha wapi safari yako ya bunge?
Safari tunasukuma.
You still gallivanting in town.
Mguu moja ishaingia bunge bana.
Ala?
Mguu moja ishaingia, ni moja tu tuna.
Are you 100%?
75.
Ulifanya wapi hiyo poll ama ni ukarabati ya town? Umeanza sinema.
Masinema re.
Let me tell you something, Gerald. The worst form of cowardice is the failure to believe in yourself.
I agree.
Yes. So when I tell you 75%, I'm telling you 75% because I've been on this run since it's over a year now.
Okay.
I started with a quiet form of you do a reconnaissance survey before you hit the ground. By the time you hit the ground, you already know your prospects, so that you don't just invest in a dead venture. So I've been on the walk public from January. I've been doing this. And there's a good show, there is good progress. And by faith in action, tutaingia.
So ujienda ground bado?
Ground ice. I've told you for over 1 year I've been on the ground.
Nafikiri umesema kwanza ulikuwa unafanya research ndio uende ground.
Research nilifanya last year.
Okay. So ushaenda ground sasa.
Last year from April hapo ndo nilikuwa na chini ya maji. Mpaka December hapo. So by the time I was declaring, I already had like Mshendo was saying, politics is about numbers. So you first of all identify those numbers so that as you develop your strategy, you already know who to target and how to target.
Okay.
Yes.
So 75%. Ongera sana
75%.
mbunge. Usikuje tena kulia next year hapa wafungue sava.
No, me, you know, at the end of the day, as I look for votes,
Yes.
I also work on protecting those votes. Because it's one thing, you can have the votes, but if you don't have ways of securing your votes, then you have done nothing.
Na
So at the end of the day, and that's why when we are here, we appreciate these opportunities to also share with fellow Kenyans on a few other issues beyond the normal politics, the normal toxicities of the politics. But even before I say that, you mentioned something about Kampala. I would like to stand in solidarity with our brothers.
Yes.
It's unfortunate that we still in the 21st century, people still have to express their divergent opinion through violence and mass murder of people, which is very unfortunate, and we condemn it. Moving to the next thing, I would really like to mention is that we've talked. He was mentioning about parties, and I heard someone mentioning about having a lot of parties for us to be a multi-party. Personally, I don't have a problem having 1,000 parties. My only concern is, what do these parties stand for? For example, you look at most of these people, they're in a party, but you can't draw the line which party they are in. Like, for example, let's use his example. There was Jubilee, there was PEP, there is CCK. So you realize that as a democracy, parties are supposed to be organized around ideologies. Ideologies that people can relate with. And that's the reason why someone like me, I'm riding independent. I'm riding independent because at the moment, there's no party or presidential candidate who has come out with a plan and a plan on how to execute that plan.
Okay.
And a demonstration of the consequential results of that plan. One side is talking about Azimio la Umoja. I can't sell that to the people of Butula.
Why?
Because the people of Butula are very peaceful. I've never seen any fights. They are normal. Of course, people argue and they move on. In Nairobi here, the only thing that I buy from... My mom is a Luo. My dad is a Luya. The only thing that I buy from Luos is fish for my own known reasons. The rest of the other things I buy from Kikuyus. Most of the things I buy from Kikuyus. And I don't have a problem. I already have my Azimio with all my other... I buy whatever I buy from the most convenient value guaranteed store.
Okay.
I don't care whether it belongs to a Bitok or a Kimani or what. So as Kenyans, we are already united. Anyone who lies to you that these tribal kingpins must come together for us to be united, that is a scam. And that's why for me, I would have wished the Honorable Prime Minister to come forward and tell us, as a person who purports to be a social justice defender, okay, we have a history, but his history, you can't limit everything to
Purport, so he is. How do you mean purport? Is he not?
You know, there are things he has done that contradict that position that he holds.
Okay. Yes.
Because social justice to me is not just about upholding the law. Yes, we need to uphold the law. We need to have a constitution. But social justice for me is about every man and woman being able to sustain their family on a normal wage. We want to be in a position, that's social justice for me, where a man, a minimum wage earner, can afford medical health for their children, school fees for their children without having to beg the politicians for bursaries and stuff like that. They can afford to comfortably take care of their families. That is social justice. So I would expect a social justice enthusiast to come forward and tell us, yes, young people have these problems. As the president, I'm going to ensure that I reserve 10% of the budget towards sports, so that we fund sports and then make it a commercial entity that can self-sustain. I would expect someone who is fighting for social justice and the rights of everyone to ensure that, as for example, as young people, we have like talent. Those are the alternative avenues of empowerment. The easiest way is actually to create opportunities for young people. I'm going to ensure that 10% of the budget goes that. We talk about things like the youth fund today. Tell us 10% of the way 2.5% goes to CDF. Tell us that 5% of the budget is going to the youth fund and we are going to decentralize. That is something that I can comfortably sell to any person in this country and they will see it. But before you say that, tell us how you are going to increase the generation of revenue. tell us how you are going to ensure that we self-sustain as a society. That is social justice to the people of Kenya. The other side has mentioned the bottom up. Yes, it's an idea that I think I can relate with. It's an idea I think that if put into perspective with the right policy and legislative measures can work.
Okay.
But the first thing, tell us, we are a budget deficit country. How are you going to cover that gap without continuous borrowing?
Okay.
How are you going, which policies are you intending to put in place? For example, these things are very simple. And I'll tell you the reason why these guys cannot give us the details, because the devil is in the details. That's why they use these populistic slangs.
Okay.
Why are young people jobless? Because their job opportunities have been taken away. How? Industries have shut down and moved to countries. The other time we were talking about Tanzania. In 2012, we had a positive balance of trade of over around 29 billion. As we speak today, our balance of trade with Tanzania is less than 10 billion. There was one of the reasons is because even some of the investors in Kenya have moved to Tanzania. Why? Because it's cheaper to do business. Why is it cheaper? Because the cost of business is low. There's corruption we don't talk of corruption in Tanzania. It's manageable. Okay, of course there are always instances, but there are systems that are working. The cost of doing business in terms of energy, electricity are low. The cost of starting businesses, the regulation are a bit flexible. Why is it that way? Because we've made it difficult for people to start businesses in Kenya.
Okay.
Why have we made it difficult? Because of the laws we've made. But because the people who want to solve those problems are already in positions where they should be solving those problems, they can't mention that. Because if they mention, we'll ask them, why are you not doing it? They have the numbers in parliament. When you talk of fighting for justice, you have the numbers, pass the laws that show that this is what you stand for.
Okay.
And that's why you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned or him, we talk about issues of, he talked of the foot soldiers. You hear, we've been talking about issues like the 6 Ps. In a devolution system like ours, I always tell Kenyans, and this is the same thing I always tell the people of Butula constituency, the most important seat, there are 2 important seats in the era of devolution, the MCA and the MP. Okay. You get the right MCA and you get the right MP. You don't even need the president. You don't even need a governor. Because with the right MCA and the right MP, the right laws will be made in parliament. There will be sufficient oversight of the executive. Budgets will be allocated and the resources will be shared equitably. So at the end of the day, even as we fight for Azimio la Umoja, that thing will never work if we don't have the right MCAs and the right MPs. So that's where we'll focus, because that's in a constitutional democracy, the most important arm of government is the legislature, because that is what determines the food you eat, the life you live, everything. It is hinged on that. So as Kenyans, as we go to the ballot, as the people of Butula, we need to understand that it's your MP who will determine the resources that will come. I always ask people, budgets are passed. When is the last time your MP came to your area to say, this year there will be a budget of, let's say, 3 trillion. What would you like me to present to the budget committee? As your wishes as the people of Butula constituency, for example? None. So by the time this person is passing a budget, you ask them, who is the beneficiary of this budget if you have not presented the views of your people? The other day I was on another television station and they were saying there are MPs whose job is to accompany their party leaders. Every day. You see them on television from Western to Central to Mombasa. You ask them, when are these people working? When are they representing their people if their job is just to hang around these people? So you realize that as a people we need to be in a position where we elect people based on their ability to perform their functions. We need to stop being, as a country, we are very retrospective when voting, where we look more at people based on possibly sometimes they'll tell you what they have done. Okay. But at the end of the day, you cannot judge a fresh graduate of medicine. You can't start asking how many surgeries he has conducted for him to be able to do a job. So we need, as much as we retrospect on the leadership, we also need to be prospective. That's where vision now comes in, because we are governed by our visions. It's good we understand our past, but we need to perspectify the present and then invest in the future. That's where we need to focus on electing people with a vision, people with ideas that are relevant. And they are relevant and they are also compliant as far as the needs of the 21st century are concerned, because you cannot solve 21st century problems using 19th century solutions.
Haya, Callistus, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Happy wa. Salama.
Niko salama kabisa.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's your first time on the tackle. Maybe you can introduce yourself first.
I am Callistus Wafula. I'm a resident of Imara Daima, Embakasi. And I'm also a political activist. I believe in the rule of law. I believe in good governance. That's why I'm here. I think I want to also talk about what my friend is talking about. The issue of coalition. I don't subscribe to the ideas of coalition because...
You don't subscribe?
Yes,
Okay.
because normally we have had coalition which are useless to the voters. People
So
are
you have
just
moved
come
again
together.
from Moka. I thought you were in Oka, which is a coalition.
I'm not subscribed to coalition, but I told you I can associate with the Oka because of the ideas they are having. They talk about and for our economy. They are talking about good things. And when you look at even UDA, they are having an agenda which is kasi in kasi. We are listening to all of them, and I'm here as a political analyst. I don't think I can take sides, but coalition, people forming small parties and giving condition to the candidate, that is not going to help us. We have to understand that this country can move forward if the president has an agenda. He is incapable of controlling
A party.
their policies and everything. So if we can support like William Ruto, for instance, today, he become the president, then we have given him MPs who come from different parties. So we are giving him another problem which he will be battling out, because these people now will be giving condition, they want to be given so and so. We are making our politics to be extremely expensive for no good reason. The issue of Azimio la Umoja, hiyo mimi naona ni kama azimio la uvunjaji, kwa sababu Raila Odinga is the one who broke NASA. He has caused a division in Jubilee. And that is the person who is telling us that kuna azimio la umoja. Azimio la umoja na yeye mwenyewe amefunja coalition yake. So yeye, na ukiangalia those people who are supporting Raila, those are octogenarian people who are beyond 70s. The people who are running short of ideas. Because when you look at even the campaign team, is being fronted by the people like Kamanda, Mrade, Atuoli. These are an octogenarian people. And someone with that age of Raila cannot help this country. Let us say the truth. People talk about you so and so has stolen from this country. When we start counting billionaires, the most richest people in the country, you realize that Ruto is not even in top 10. So those people who are rich, these are the people who are telling us that so and so has stolen from you. We have to shape our politics if we want to get things right. Because you cannot keep on complaining that so and so stole. If we have got the president of Republic of Kenya who is in charge of the country, if someone has stolen from Kenyans, then he must be, they won't be blamed. Because why has he not arrested all these people who have stolen from us? So we need, these people are running away. They talk about so and so has stolen. This country will be in safe hands. The country will be in safe hands if we have got good policies, if we have got good plans, and if the president can work with all the 47 counties, equitable distribution of national resources. That is what we mean. But again, there is a problem we are facing whereby people are just coming up with the slogans and economic models like bottoms up is a good thing.
Bottoms up.
The bottoms up, the way they are marketing it shallowly, just saying kasi ni kasi. I don't think that one is the definition of bottoms up.
Is it bottoms up or bottom up?
The bottom up. The deputy president need to get the right people who will help him implement the bottom up approach, because if it means about industrialization, supporting the small business and the medium enterprises, then it will be good for the country. We have got another narrative that is going on where guys say that they want to unite the country and they want to give people 6,000 shillings for living.
Amutaki pesa kwani?
Sasa hiyo ni pesa kani? Because sababu pesa uwezi patia kijana pesa. Kijana sio mzee akae kwa nyumba angojee umpatie pesa aende. Hiyo kama pesa ya wazee ndio imekosekana, hii 6,000 itatoka wapi ipatiwe hao vijana ambao sisi we are almost 70% of the population. So tunataka kiongozi ambaye ako na agenda. Tunataka uchumi bora, kuimarisha uchumi, tuchenge viwanda, tupatie vijana kazi, na hiyo yote ni mazungumzo itaendelea kama tunatoa matusi. Because nimeona even the deputy president is running short of is becoming like ODM, because ODM ndio watu wamesoea matusi. Sasa niliona yeye pia juzi ameenda ametukana governor wa Meru sijui nini. If deputy president can just sell the ideas without insulting, he will give us the reason why we should not vote for this old man who is just going to sleep at the State House. Because mtu akifika rika ya Raila, hata wazee wetu uko nyumbani, hata kwa shamba hawaendi. So utatuma mtu kama huyo, msee akikaa 2 hours amechoka, anafaa ila alishe mkongo mahali, na hii inji nataka mtu afanye kazi 24/7. So hatutaki kufanya guesswork, lazima tuangalie tunafanya nini. Mtu akifika miaka ya 80s, na ndio nimesema octogenarian sako, those are the people who are following Raila. Wanataka tu wasukume ya ingia hapo msalale, alafu waendelea kukula inji. Na tunataka kuambia kwamba tuko,
lakini si watalala wote, kama unasema wote watalala wote.
Sasa wadalala, lakini hawa ni wezi. Unajua mwizi ataiba hata kama you don't need to struggle if you want to steal. Unatafuta tu mbinu ya kuchukua hiyo kitu. So sisi hatutaki president ambaye anaenda kulala huko. So mzee ni mzuri. Kama angekuwa mtu mzuri angefront hata mtu kutoka kwa NASA. Kuna Kalonzo, kuna Mudavadi. Kwa nini yeye anaona tu ni lazima yeye asimame? Na yeye ndiye alikuwa mtu wa kwanza. He has contested all election of Uhuru Kenyatta, election victories. Sasa hata it is a betrayal of highest level if Uhuru Kenyatta can tell people support Raila Odinga. Because on which basis? Huyu ni mtu amesema wewe ustahili kuwa president. Huyu ni mtu ameenda amechiapisha. Huyu ni mtu alisema hakuna kura hata yeyote. Hata wakati mmoja alikuwa ana introduce Uhuru Kenyatta in politics, Raila alisema huyu ni mtu wa kufuta banki. Astahili kupatiwa nafasi. Sasa huyu ndio mtu tena Uhuru Kenyatta anasema tumsupport. Sasa watu wa Central wanashangaa, sasa mheshimiwa rais, huyu mtu mwenye amekupinga hii miaka yote, huyu ni mtu ambaye hata juzi wakati koti imempatia nafasi ya kwamba muende participate kwa repeat election alikataa. Na alikataa kwa sababu dungerudia election, hata watu wa Western walikuwa wameanza kuchoka naye. Hii maneno ya kusungusha watu kwa barabara kila wakati hata kwa sababu unatafuta uongozi, hiyo vitu watu wanachoka. Sasa naambia mheshimiwa rais, the risk, as a learned people we are taught how to take risk, but you have to take calculated risk, because huwezi chukua tu risk yoyote. Sasa kusupport mtu kama huyo hata kukeuka, alafu sasa usikie kina Orengo anaongea Kisungu akikwambia vile sheria inasema, what will you do? Sasa ikiwa walikuwa wanamsomea sheria Chekaranda ground wakati hawajapata uongozi, wakisema tunapanga vile tutakungoa State House. Sasa hii vitu yote umefanya ni ukora tu, handshake. Na sisi kama watu wa magharibi, I'm not tribal, tunasema kuna interests national, there is also regional interest. Because when I talk about Western region, there is, in the Western region, there are all tribes. There are Kalenjins, Kikuyus, Kambas, and all tribes are there. Therefore, when it comes to voting, all Nyanza, all Luos, if I use that word, all Luos are supporting Raila. but they call it national. Raila is a national figure. All Kalenjin, forget about Gideon Moi, is negligible. He cannot cause anything difference in the Rift Valley. All Kalenjins are supporting him. William Ruto.
Why you
And I can't call it
undervaluing
tribal.
Gideon?
In Western region, this time round, if one Kenya Alliance will front Musalia Mudavadi, for instance, Raila must forget about Western votes.
Okay.
And accumulatively nationally, the people who are living in Nairobi, for instance, and they come from Western region, or they have interest in Western region, they're not going to support Raila. They will definitely vote for Musalia Mudavadi. So the thing I'm telling you, in 2022, we are going to have a rerun. My friend told me, I've just told us that it is unreasonable to have a runoff. You are not going to run away from a runoff. We are going to have a runoff, and Raila Odinga with his fellow octogenarian guys will be number 3 on the race. So it means Musalia Mudavadi will go on a rerun with William Ruto. This is a laughing matter, but I'm telling you the truth. We are just waiting for a signal. If Uhuru Kenyatta, and the best way president can do is to assure us that we are going to have free and fair election. We don't care who become the president, because after all these people, they are just the same. But the worst is to have an old man who is going to sleep to allow people loot public money. And these are people who are walking on the road. Mtu anatembea na msafara kubwa, wapunge wote wa kutoka Nyanza hawafanyi kazi. Lakini wamefuata tu msafara ya baba. Ati ataenda kudirect watu wapikie kura. So someone like James Orengo, huyo ni mtu achalingi hata maisha ya watu. Yeye bila alichua tu ya kwamba nikifuata Raila atasema mimi ndio timu yangu. I'm advocating for strong political parties. But I don't activate on the ideas of cartelism, whereby, recently I heard about Mama Ita Odinga trying to front Team Wanyonyi for Nairobi governorship. That is just cartelism. Lazima kuna kitu yenye timu ameenda amefanyia huyo mama, sasa anakuja kutuambia. Nairobi race, hata ni fact is destroying team. Okay. Wacha mtu achitokeleze atafute kura. Na kama Sonko atasimama, hata Raila Odinga mwenyewe akisimama, Nairobi governor atanguka.
Ala. Sonko atamwangusha. Haya.
Atamwangusha.
So,
so
talking about ANC, the Secretary General of ANC party, who comes from Oka, has clearly stated that it's becoming a difficult task pushing Musalia Mudavadi as a presidential flag bearer for Oka. I don't know what you make of that, Mushendo, especially now that our brother is saying Musalia Mudavadi is the man to beat in the runoff.
You know, I'll tell you, years before, say 2011, 2012, I had always thought Musalia Mudavadi was a presidential material. But unfortunately, if you don't know how to package yourself, that makes it difficult for him to be a presidential material. And I think for me is if the Secretary General of ANC, which is the mother party of Musalia Mudavadi, is finding it difficult to market him, there is something either terribly wrong with the party or terribly wrong with Musalia Mudavadi. And I think, just to be fair to him, if I look at the components of Oka, he stands tall amongst those guys. That's a fact. Because Kalonzo Musyoka doesn't bring anything useful to the table. It's true. You have called them what? These was unawaita aje? Octogenarian. You saw them, all the Machakos governors learning behind, Kaba governors learning behind Raila Odinga the other day. We saw them. That is the home base of Kalonzo Musyoka. In Western Kenya, a bit of Western Kenya in Nyanza, Yeah, very few, actually, not very few. Only one governor. What do you call him?
Oparanya.
Not Oparanya. This guy that was
Which county?
the guy that was the other day taken to court. The governor. I'm trying to remember the governor. Obado. Okoth Obado.
Yes.
Only Okoth Obado has the guts to rise against Raila Odinga. The rest of the governors are fully behind Raila Odinga. As much as he is old, he has mastered the art of controlling his region up to date. That is why people like Orengo will not do a single rally in their counties and get elected as senators. If you go to Rift Valley, the deputy president has been able to have all the governors from Rift Valley, apart from, I think, Ricky Nyanjui, who is more considered of a central governor. The other governors have been able to rally behind the deputy president. And therefore, this is it, let me tell you, and take this to the bank. We must first of all accept the diversity of our of where we come from. All of us do not come from the same region. And the moment you try to ignore that diversity in a political formation, you will lose it very early in the morning. And this then means that if you're coming to the table to discuss national issues, you must first of all consolidate support from where you come from.
Yes.
That is a given fact. People must, that is not being tribal. It is accept our divergence in terms of tribe, in terms of our culture. And if you're coming to talk about national politics, you must be seen to be accepted from where you come from. That is the major problem with Musalia Mudavadi. He has not been seen to be accepted. I have seen people like Oparanya fighting Mudavadi. I have seen the same people he is sitting down Atoka with Kinaweta fighting him. I have seen people like Atuoli fighting Mudavadi. So Mudavadi coming to the table, there is already fights brewing in his region where he is supposed to consolidate. And that is one of the reasons why Ruto is able to go out to the public. That is why Raila Odinga is able to go, as much as he is over 70, he is able now to go out there and campaign with that warmness or warmth of having consolidated support from where they come from. That is why Uhuru Kenyatta was able to move out and go and campaign, because of enjoying the warmth of support from where he comes from in the central region. And I think for me, once you lack that, if you lack that local support, you become ineligible to become the president of the republic. Because, I mean, what is your justification that we should make you a presidential candidate? Because politics is a game of interest. Mtu wasiwahi kudanganya. Unaona hata huyu jamaa anasimama huko Butula, is it Butula?
Yes.
He's vying for Butula. It is a game of interest. His interest and the interest of his people. And most politicians pretend to be angels that they always talk about people's interest. They never fail. They always fail to mention about their own interest as individuals. As Mushendo, I have interests for the people of Limuru, but I also have my own personal interest. My personal interest is that I am tired of campaigning for anyone. I must also enjoy the trappings that comes with being
campaigned
elected.
for.
You must have.
Wacha nikwambie, tuachane kudanganya watu hapa. Ati I am selfless. Mimi nataka nisaidie watu wa Limuru, nataka nini? Let me tell you, this is a capitalism, political democracy.
So utaki kusaidia watu wale?
No. I'm saying, get me right.
Yeah.
There is the interest of the people of Limuru, but there is also personal interest. Because, my brother, when you become the member of parliament for Butula, there are doors that naturally would not have opened for you in this Nairobi that are going to open. There are companies, there are NGOs, there are organizations that will open doors for you. And they open doors for you, they better your life as you better the life of the people who elected you. So personal interest and people's interest go hand in hand. Usiwahi danganywa na mtu. And that is why unakuta kila mtu saizi amechaguliwa, hakuna mtu hana nyakenywa dancers. Everybody has an Nyakenyua dancers. Like when I go to the constituency, as a member of parliament, if he goes Akobutura, na unasikia ametoka bunge, unasikia ati akona watu wamemgoja Kisumu airport, wampeleke constituency. I mean, personal interest must not be separated from the public interest. They go line in line. And therefore, when you talk about Mudavadi or any other politician, have you created a perception that you are accepted from where you come from? Because when those people accept you, they give you relevance. Today, Bichok, some of the, in fact, in parliament, what gives you legitimacy as a member of parliament? You're given legitimacy because the people of Kikuyu, the people of Limuru, the people of Butula, the people of, Embakasi East or whatever, they have elected you. They have given you legitimacy that when you stand to speak, you speak with confidence because there are people who has legitimized your stay in that assembly. And therefore, even presidential candidates, if you want us to make you a president,
Yes.
you must show legitimacy as a presidential candidate. Something Mudavadi is very far from making. It is like how he has described Gideon Moi. Gideon Moi is a non-starter. There is, I mean, in fact, you realize most national opinion polls, he does not strike marks worthy of reporting in an opinion poll. And therefore, he has already lacked legitimacy of his claim to the presidency, because the presidency is not a hereditary kind of a thing. That because your father was a president, you also want to become president. You must show legitimacy. You go to Baringo today, you have seen the fights in Laikipia County. The Laikipia County fights always spill back to Baringo because they are neighbors. You see a person coming from Baringo, which is one of the places in this nation and in this part of Africa that is being affected by climate change in a very bad way. But you see somebody always sitting in hotels. The people who have legitimized his stay in the Senate are the people of Baringo County. He does not care how many times, and I'm challenging you people, unless Gideon Moi is going to a barrio in Baringo, how many times have you seen him go to do development program in Baringo? And I challenge even the Takras who are there. If you have seen Gideon Moi do any development program, you know, in Kiambu we have a useless senator, but at least we see his vans loitering around Kiambu. We can probably see his presence through those vans, other than SMSs that he normally sends us when election near. We can see the vans.
At least you can see something.
We can remember we have a senator called Wamatram. Wamatram. Gideon Moi, you people, you are political commentators here. Bitok, you do a show every morning.
You're just
Please,
like us.
You're just, yes.
Like
So,
the people of Busia.
tuonyeshe program moja umesikia Gideon Moi amefanya Baringo kwao. One program. Other than eating Cerelac. Yani mtu wa Cerelac na mtu wa kukaa mahoteli, kunegotiate ati oka. What, you know, let me tell you. It is when was the last time you heard Musalia Mudavadi do empowerment programs in Western region? Specifically, Vihiga.
If you allow,
Just a moment. In Vihiga, when was the last time you saw Moses Wetangula addressing a rally from, what do you call it, Bungoma? Addressing rallies or development issues in Bungoma. When was the last time you heard these senators? Because for unfortunate, in the Oka Nini, 3 out of, is it, are they 3? No, 2 out of the 4 are members of the Senate. What is the work of a senator in a national Senate? It is to advocate the issues pertaining to the county where you come from.
you have been doing.
Yeah,
I've heard Gideon Moi talking.
so you see, talking, I can also talk. I've also written memos to the National Assembly, and I'm not a member.
contributing.
I'm not a member of Parliament. I have written memos to the National Assembly. We have written a memo with my friends regarding NHIF. It came to the Assembly, and it was frontiered by the youth representative. What do you call him? Gideon Ketel. You don't need to be a member of Parliament to have issues taken there. But when it comes to issues of budgeting, that is the key role of a Senate. I was seated in the Senate when they were discussing you remember the revenue formula. I was seated in that Senate. These two, particularly those two, I have not seen their contribution in that, and I'll be very honest. So basically, to come back to what you have asked, if you want to become a presidential candidate, be talk. Where the place where you come, Moiben, the Moiben people must legitimize your claim to any seat in this republic, that this is our son, and that is the truth. Because for you to be taken as a serious presidential candidate, for you to be taken as a person who can be entrusted to be the CEO of this republic, you must show with a show of faith that you are capable. You can do it. Now, in our French, we say, that for you to even fathom the idea of leading people who are beyond the Gio village where I come from, I must start at the Gio village and get that embrace from those people. Subsequently, get the embrace of Day Award, Limuru constituency, Kiambu County. Nikifika hapa, nasema, I want today, I sit here, be talk, and I do comment, I commentate and I talk about national interest, not at anybody's account. I have not been given mandate by anybody. I just come and share my thoughts. And therefore, tomorrow if I want to be a leader in this republic, nimerudi Limuru. Kwanza watu wa Limuru wanipatie legitimacy. Niingie bunge. I adjudicate their things in bunge. The other people in the country see what I am doing, and they will take notes. So shida ile iko Mudavadi cannot even cannot even get the people of Western Kenya to speak in one voice. In fact, they are in the same coalition competing with Moses Wetangula from the same community. I mean, sure.
Mr. Chairman, if you allow me to interject, because
Adoy has
this
not
person
spoken.
has...
All right. Okay, you can interject in a minute.
This person has a
minute.
name.
1 minute.
Mjendu.
Mushendu.
Yes.
Mshendu.
Yes.
I want to tell you that Musalia Mudavadi in 2013, he never ran because he had people around who were just fooling him, just playing what we call waiting tactics. As this time round, if Musalia Mudavadi is running seriously, you can take to bank. People of Western region will support him. And if he's going to choke around, I can tell you point blank that all those people are going to vote for William Ruto. For the obvious reason, because there is no way we can support someone for a period of 20 years. And whenever he get little chance, like project, he take them to Luo Nyanza. I want to tell you that One Kenya Alliance, you don't have to do some the way you are saying projects. When I was growing up in our high school, Musalia Mudavadi built like 3 dormitories. And when you go to Western region, there are so many schools that have been supported by Musalia Mudavadi. So let us not just dismiss someone just because he's not here to defend himself. The point I'm trying to say, the only person who is empowering people and supporting so many people is William Ruto. Even Raila Odinga, that is the most distinct person we have in the country. So you cannot say Raila Odinga is a leading contestant and at the same time you accuse Musalia for not having been supporting people on economic activities. What we want a country whereby people can be able to do business freely. The tax system should not be retrogressive. We want to attract investors. And the only person whom I can tell you is a presidential material is Musalia Mudavadi. Like when you heard my friend William Ruto, he talked to the Meru Governor as if So such like a person, if he become the president, ataandika watu vibogo.
Haya, Adwe,
Yes, sir.
kazi kwako.
On Musalia Mudavadi, this is a man who has had opportunities. But it's either he has refused to notice them or take them.
Okay.
We go back to way back in 2002. Musalia Mudavadi was poised to become the president. But he accepted to become a vice president. Outside even parliament, when parliament had already been dissolved. I think that's where his trouble started. In 2013, I don't know who advised or misadvised him. Because at first, on one side, he was in one team, on the other side, I think there's someone who, I don't want to make assumptions.
Okay.
But it's like on one night he's on Uhuru's side, then the next night it's like he was never there. And then, at the end of the day, it's always said the issues that you have with your wife, when you come out to tell the people and complain to people about what happened in that room, you're the one who ends up
Being ridiculed.
ridiculed. So it's the same thing. So when you come out and start talking about Madimoni, and then we fast forward to 2017, they were together, and then suddenly after the elections, you realize that these people, it's like there is a plan that Musalia Mudavadi has refused to notice. There's a plan to ensure that he never becomes president, and he has refused to realize that. Because after 2017, he became, let's say, rebellious towards Raila Odinga. And I was listening to Musalia Mudavadi the other day. He looks very bitter. That's not the Musalia Mudavadi I'm used to.
Okay.
Musalia Mudavadi has been this composed guy that most people will look at and say, that can be your president. He's never been this antagonistic guy. But this is a case of a guy who has opportunities, but he has refused to either notice the opportunities or pick them. Come to what he has said. In Kenya today, unfortunate as it is, legitimacy starts from home. I'm this guy who thought I could become an MP without even having to focus on my village first. And then I realized people are like, what are people saying at his home? So I had to go back to the drawing board. The truth is, unfortunate as it is, you have to build your base from home. For the presidency, we are mobilized around tribes. Kenyan politics thrives out of tribal divisions. That's how people build capital with which to bargain. So unless you are able to build capital within your region or your tribe, there's nobody who will call you on the table to bargain. And that's why people are acting like Musalia Mudavadi does not exist. My friend here is telling you that Musalia Mudavadi will be elected in Western. I'm telling you for free. Even for people like us, I'm riding independent, but I'm willing to align myself with a candidate that has ideas and a plan that can better the lives of Kenyans and can increase my prospects of becoming an MP. The question you need to ask yourself, in Western today, when you align yourself with Mudavadi, does he increase your chances of becoming an MP or an MCA? Even in his own constituency? He doesn't. The reason why Uhuru, the reason why Raila, the reason why Ruto are where they are today, and they command that following and, let's say, respect, all other things aside, is because if you align yourself with Raila today in Luo Nyanza and some parts of Western, let's say it increases your chances. In Luo Nyanza, you have a 95% chance of. And that's why people like Orengo anaenda wanasema tu. Orengo went there on a Friday and said, si mnajua ile kazi mimi huwa nafanya. Like Aisha, even Tuesday was got more than 90% of the votes. So unless you've built your own local capital with which to bargain, my friend, there's nobody who will call you on the table to bargain. Because Gerald, if I can get power without you, why should I share that power with you? Or why should I look for you to get that power, that what I can get without you? So at the moment, Musalia Mudavadi had a chance. And as a person, I still believe, if he understands, I wish he understood his currency. Musalia Mudavadi is not a William Ruto. Musalia Mudavadi is not a Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga can wake up and antagonize people and still mine capital out of that. Musalia Mudavadi is not that type. I wish he understood his currency and capitalized on that. The most important thing is identify your strength and then use that to build coalitions, to mine value and negotiate with it. Unfortunately for our son from Mulembe, our son from Mulembe does not really understand his strengths as a person, and that's why it's very difficult for anyone to even consider even having him as a candidate. Because let's take it very simple.
Yeah.
Like he said, in Oka, Musalia Mudavadi cuts above all of them in terms of image and political stature.
Yes.
But why would Gideon Moi be headlining the Oka rallies in Kajiado? The other day, Gideon Moi was the keynote speaker. Why would a man like Musalia Mudavadi allow himself to? And then the other day he went to church. Now you are unwell. Let me tell you something. You know, at the end of the day, it reminds me of the day of the swearing of the NASA leader when he was saying, oh, security was withdrawn. Oh, the calls were not going through. That is nonsense.
He didn't
You
want
are
to
unwell to go to a
participate
political
in illegal
rally.
process.
You are unwell to go to a political rally. I would expect him, if he was unwell not to go to Kajiado, I would expect him to be talking from a hospital bed, not in a church campaigning. You cannot tell me that you are not unwell to go to church, to go to a rally, and then the following day you are campaigning in another venue and now telling people I was unwell. Those are the things that now, you know, sometimes that's why I said you'd rather just keep quiet. And I always tell people, anytime you feel like you want to lie, just keep quiet. You'd rather withhold that lie than embarrass yourself with what you think is. You know, as a person, when you're building, you know, when you get to a level of Mudavadi, you don't need to seek that kind of validation through sympathy. You don't need to go to church and tell people. When you don't go to church and tell people, now you see, Musalia Mudavadi is explaining himself to Gideon Moi why he couldn't attend an Oka rally. Really? Gideon Moi has already said we are working on a way of working with Raila. And you know that's Mudavadi's bitterness. Because Mudavadi thought with this organization and with his stature, he thought he could be the automatic candidate that can then go to the ballot and force a runoff. Unfortunately, the son of the professor had his own plans. So for Musalia Mudavadi, I will say, sometimes it's always recommended when it gets too hot, just relax. You know, you're not losing anything. Musalia Mudavadi at the moment has nothing to lose. Musalia Mudavadi on his own cannot beat Raila, he cannot beat Ruto. So the only thing he can do is take a back seat, reorganize himself. And sometimes I admire what happens in the mountain region. I was asking someone from Western, when you appoint Atuoli as the spokesman, and you compare that with having people like Peter Munga speaking for the mountain. I asked someone, what value does Atuoli add to the people of Western? If we are to eliminate Atuoli and his money and his businesses from this world, what will the people of Western lose? But if you are to eliminate Peter Munga with his money and his businesses, you see the impact it will have on the people. So I always tell, when you are picking a spokesman or looking for someone to negotiate, have someone who has value. Someone that the people even look up to. When I look at the Mount Kenya Foundation, these are people who control businesses. These are people who create opportunities for hundreds and livelihoods for hundreds and thousands of people for the mountain region. So when James Mwangi stands up to give an opinion, when SK Macharia stands up to give an opinion about how the mountain should take up, the people of the mountain will listen. Because if SK Macharia was to shut down his businesses, do you know that is going to affect a lot of lives in? So you, as a parent, when you go back home, you say, Equity Foundation. You talk about equity that has created jobs. You talk about equity as something that has opened up. That's how people of the Western have failed to realize the economic value of politics. And that's why we are beaten by the people of the mountain. Because to the mountain people, politics is economical. To the Western people, politics is social, about status. And go to funerals, people dance around you and you think you're doing a lot.
Right. So
that is the trap that Mudavadi is falling into.
Gideon Moya said, Uns studied not ill in disbanded NASA to blame for current tension in Oka. Remember, these guys are still having X emotions. They are yet to let go of NASA as it was. Anyway, now, two other issues. Uhuru Kenyatta said he's going to declare his presidential choice in the next 2 weeks. I don't know what effect that has.
I think I don't know how to put it, but we are currently being faced with a change of guard. That like that is like no other in this country. Because you remember the first change of guard in this country was that of the death of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. So it automatically meant the vice president took over from him. There was not so much hassle about that. All of us know the story of Sir Charles Jojo, the Duke of Kabete Shire, and what happened. Fast forward to the handing over of 2002, Moi exiting and Moi Kibaki coming in. People are very tired with President Moi 24 years. And therefore, we were welcoming a very new type of government, especially for those of us who are born during the reigns of Moi. Fast forward to 2013. Kibaki is struggling health-wise. He was also getting old. You saw he turned 90 the other day. And therefore, Kibaki was looking so much forward to go home and rest and relax. And here we are. 2022 is another change of guard. That change of guard has a president who is still, as the Kibicho bloggers put it on Facebook, too young to retire, as they say it. We have a very young, energetic, in quotes, and young must be put in quotes when I am saying it, very energetic, a person who has been involved in what is called what do you call it, political croniness. A person who has been involved in what I would call a state capture, in terms of other than when President Moi was a president. The current president's family is one of the families that is doing serious businesses with government. And that I would classify as what one time David Dick called state capture. There is vested interest in terms of family business and government. And therefore, it is very hard for him to let go everything because he has vested interest in the government that are going to come after him. And therefore, he keeps saying he is going to mention his presidential choice. It's an open secret. We do not expect him to do some magics and announce someone we don't know. He's going to announce the same. But I will say this. Probably it will be a blessing for Raila Odinga when the president declares that he is going to support Raila Odinga, because it will be the first time a serious and a senior person from out Kenya would declare such a support to Raila Odinga. But, it's true. It's true. And, you're laughing. It's the truth. It will be the very first time. Raila has never received accolades from a sitting president. This will be the very first time. So, if he was to declare Raila Odinga is his choice, it will be probably a blessing for Raila Odinga, because there is quite a chunk of central votes that would... Okay, Raila always gets quite a number of votes in central, because we have also embraced other people from other walks of life, because you see central ni pahali ya majani chai, ni pahali ya kahawa, ni pahali ya maziwa. And I would say this: one of the biggest competition in terms of handy jobs, it is from Western Kenya. Ukitoka kwa Mukikuyu kulima, ule mtu mwingine wana compete kwa kazi ya shamba, kazi ya mikono. Ni mtu wa Western Kenya, arafu mtu wa Rift Valley. That's the truth. It's a fact. Those three tribes are very well known in terms of doing those. So therefore, there is a mix of race in Central that will give Raila votes. And that support by the President Uhuru Kenyatta would come in handy. And of course, we are still waiting for that wedding when ODM marries Jubilee very soon. Unfortunately, they are marrying a barren daughter of who cannot bear children. And therefore, if Uhuru Kenyatta declares that he will support William Ruto, if today he was to declare he will support a William Ruto, I would advise William Ruto to run away like a plague.
Yes.
Because any support from Uhuru Kenyatta at this juncture, I would consider it cancerous.
Yes.
Ala.
I would consider it a stage 4 cancer. And William Ruto must run with his 2 legs as fast as he can. William Ruto today in Central, in the mountain, does not require the endorsement of Uhuru Kenyatta. They talk about deep state and how they will steal election to instill fear on politicians. But I think for me that the president supporting William Ruto at this juncture is not going to add value to the deputy president. In fact, it might work against him because, Bitok, at the Hustler Nation, we have formulated a political system that is geared to fight that very system Uhuru Kenyatta is running. And subsequently, any support coming from the president to William Ruto, it will just going to hurt his campaign. It is not going to build any capacity for him. So I wish the president well as he declares whoever he wants to support. But I can assure you, it is nobody outside the dynasties. So this is an open secret. Okay. And I hope he gets to declare
So
that
could it be?
before the wedding between
So ni nani? Who could it be? In your guess, who could it be?
me. Of course, Raila Odinga.
Okay. Aye.
He's going to support Raila Odinga. And that's why I'm telling these OCA projects. The other day we saw that all the vehicles they are currently using are being financed from Harambee House.
Yes.
All of them. Whether Raila Odinga, whether Kalonzo Musyoka, whether Mudavadi. I think the only person who frames himself in using his father's bicycle is the Cerelac boy, Gideon Moi. The rest, all of them, mpaka sasa nini zao, mpaka sasa magari zao ni sa serikali, na wewe unaita press conference kupiga hizo serikali na that feeds you. Do you know, let me surprise you. Gideon Moi, the OCA, all the OCA principles, apart from probably, no, not apart, actually all of them. Mtu anaitwa Moses Wetangula is a senator eating off from government pay and allowances. Mtu anaitwa Gideon Moi anakula both salary yake na wanakula hii ilikuwa inaitwa retirement benefit za baba yao as the president. Mtu anaitwa Musalia Mudavadi. Musalia Mudavadi anaenda na gari ya unajua is a former vice president. Anaenda na gari ya president ya serikali, anapikiwa na kuku ya serikali, anabebwa na dereva ya serikali, ya kuku ya serikali. They are mnawaita chef nowadays. Everything government. Kalonzo Musyoka does not probably know the cost of buying a new car. He joined government a long time ago. He stayed in government, ended up being a vice president. He's getting the goodies that comes with being a former vice president. Musalia Mudavadi the same. He's a former vice president, enjoying the traps of power that comes with having served in that position, regardless of the fact that he was appointed the vice president when parliament was already dissolved. He was a vice president for how many days? I can't remember. About 3 months or so. So basically, these OCA people, the only thing that has brought all of them together, it is when they remember what they enjoy from this government, and they cannot afford to lose it. So they have come together as people who continue to benefit from government, as people who continue to benefit from our taxes. It is what that has brought them together. So for me, I find it, in fact, sasa unaona Uhuru Kenyatta akideclare support yake kwa Mudavadi ama kwa Wetangula. Anaweza declare yake kwa Gideon Moi, considering it is the father who had him join politics, because it is not forgotten to us that in 1997, when he vied for parliamentary seat in Gatondo South, he was thrown in a combination effort of Moses Kuria and the then MP called Moses Mwehia. And they chased him out of Gatondo South, for those people who care to look at the history. And subsequently, the president had to ask the fixer, Mr. Fixer, Mark Tor, to resign so that Uhuru Kenyatta can join parliament and subsequently be appointed and become the presidential candidate for 2002. So him naming Gideon Moi as successor, it will not come to a surprise. And you see, in our French, we give back. If you do something good to me in my native area, I will do something small.
I'll
to
return.
say thank you, and I will return
return the
hard.
hand.
So he might return hard to Gideon Moi. Or you might, but I say this and I say this.
Return
My
hand.
people, my Hustler Nation people, my presidential candidate William Ruto, if Uhuru declares that he is supporting you,
You lose.
run away from him like a plague. It is a stage 4 cancer. Him supporting you is going to dent your campaign rather than support it.
Okay. All right, Ndugu.
Yes.
Odweo,
Yes, sir.
will it have an effect on the politics of the day?
The only thing that the president brings to that candidate that he chooses to support probably is the state machinery, not votes. Because at the end of the day, at the moment, the only card that the president can dangle around is the state goodies. Because if you look at the performance of the Jubilee, you see, for an incumbent, you are judged based on your performance. And I don't think there's no ordinary Kenyan today who can celebrate the presidency of Jubilee, the presidency of Uhuru Kenyatta, to a point where if Uhuru was to endorse someone, then they would say it's a continuation of a positive thing, so we need to elect that person into office. Because at the end of the day, Jubilee has burdened Kenyans in every aspect of their life, except a few of their cronies, their families and friends. So when the president talks about someone to protect his legacy, you need to ask yourself, what is the legacy of Jubilee? The legacy of Jubilee, we know, is the debt, the insatiable appetite for debt. We are talking about high fuel prices. We are talking about corruption. We are talking about high cost of electricity. Is that what you want protected? Because basically that's what Kenyans can relate with. So if Uhuru is coming forward, the president is coming forward to support someone in the interest of a continuation of his work, then that's what Kenyans can relate with.
Okay.
But we cannot take away the fact that the dynamics of the mountain they always have their own way of, like I already mentioned, politics in the mountain region is largely economic. So there are people. It might not be the same for the ordinary people, but there's a way that politics is controlled at a central region, unlike in Western, where anyone can walk in and get their vote. In Western, any peg and square can walk in and they'll get their vote as long as they can sell whatever they are selling. Nobody will antagonize you. In the mountain, and that's where the president's influence comes in. Because he has the government, because he has the card that he can dangle around, because he has the resources and the power and the opportunities that can coalesce these people together. Because we were talking about Oka. Raila Odinga might be the primary project of Uhuru. As we can see the way he's being pushed by the government, the state machinery, the cabinet secretaries. But Oka is just another alternative. And that's why I always advise Oka and its sympathizers and its people. Like my friend has said, he's an enthusiast, he's supporting Musalia. I always advise as kids, the earlier when in a polygamous marriage, antagonizing the first wife and their children will never help you. The earlier you mend up things and make up peace, get a share of your inheritance before the old man dies, the better. Because when the old man dies, the first wife always takes precedent. So you realize that there are some things, as much as there might be the law, but there are secrets that the first wife might choose not to disclose. So I'll tell Oka is a case of the second wife, who is proud and is not ready to accept that there's a first wife, that we must work together in order to build this family in the absence of the old man. So the old man here is the president. So yes, the president might have some influence based on the way the politics of the mountain is organized. But at the moment, I would say, you see, we were talking about the deputy president.
Yeah.
What I would say is that the deputy president has made his own inroads. If the president was to support, okay, like it looks like Raila Odinga, and of course, it's expected Oka will follow up and join the crew because these are children of the same system. If the president was supposed to support Raila, there will be, of course, there will be there will be votes he will get from the mountain region. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't say it's a vote that Raila has to rely on because the former prime minister has always had his own basket. There has always been disputes about the results, which means that all that the prime minister, and that's if I had an opportunity to tell him, to advise him, I'll tell him, he doesn't need the president's support and endorsement to become president. All he needs is the goodwill, not really the goodwill, but what he could have done is to ensure that we have a system that ensures that the votes are free, fair, transparent, and verifiable.
Okay.
The rest of the other things are burdens I wouldn't want to associate with as a person because it becomes very to sell. I've lived most of my time in Kiambu, its regions. Most of the people I interact with, like I already mentioned, majority of the people I interact with are Kikuyus. Majority of the people I deal with are from the mountain region. An ordinary person has no reason to vote for Uhuru Kenyatta again, the president. Okay. An ordinary person has no reason to support anyone fronted by the president. And that's the same thing even at the parliamentary and MC other seats. And that's why Jubilee has fallen. Because at the moment, if you go to the ground, when you see people like Waiguru running, we may play around it, but the truth is the ground does not trust that the president or anyone fronted by the president can solve their problems.
Okay. All right. Callistus.
Me, I refuse to accept that the president is supporting Raila Odinga. He's not genuinely supporting Raila Odinga because the president is playing games.
Okay.
And if you follow what he is trying to do, you want to make Raila Odinga hopeless because you want to support him so that he yani akasirishe wale wenye wanamfuata kutoka Central. If you look at how the president has mounted what we call campaign machinery behind Raila Odinga, he's just doing timing because at some point he will have to drop him. Because when you look at people are saying that the Oka are not united, but they are playing games. Because you realize that Musalia Mudavadi had to skip that rally that were organized by Kalonzo Musyoka. And at some point, Gideon Moi came out and make some funny statement. These people are just playing games. What I know, Uhuru Kenyatta, in his normal sense, cannot support Raila. And that is something that that is a bitter truth that people of OTM, the OTM followers, Miguna call them zombies, the OTM cows, they have refused to accept the reality that Uhuru Kenyatta cannot front Raila, genuinely front Raila. Okay. What he's trying to do, he's trying to support Raila so that he lose that popularity. If you look at how he has interacted with William Ruto in function, public function, for instance, Uhuru Kenyatta, if you ask him, or if you can get something that can measure the how can we call it, kitu inaweza pima tu roho yake, Uhuru Kenyatta atafurahia sana if he will be handing over to either Mudavadi or William Ruto.
Okay. But
because of there are some guys who are around him, they want to push him to support maybe Raila Odinga. Even the matter, Namangina, I don't think she can support Raila Odinga. They wanted to use Raila Odinga to advance PPI agenda. Na hata Raila pia alijua walikuwa wanacheza game ili ikwame. You realize that to some point James Orengo had to oppose PPI in Senate. So that one tells you that they were lying to each other. And at this point, what is happening? Uhuru Kenyatta will support Raila Odinga until February.
All right.
After February, he will again make another funny statement saying that I'm going to hand over to whoever will be elected.
Okay.
And that's why I'm telling my friend, don't just dismiss Musalia. The games are always organized by very intelligent people.
Okay.
And if Uhuru Kenyatta want to support you, for instance, he cannot just come direct and support you. He can give you resources. Uhuru Kenyatta is funding Oka. Is again funding Raila so that Raila continues sleeping. If he drop Raila by February, Raila will not get time to go and look for donors. Time will be up. And now, akienda kutafuta pesa huko nje atarudi kampeni imekwisha. Sasa, ukiangalia William Ruto pia, to some point is being funded by the state.
Okay. Oh.
Yes. Uhuru Kenyatta might be supporting him
Oh.
in a match. This guy has a lot of...
Lima.
Akona nguvu.
Nguvu yake.
Ni nguvu yake. Ile petrol yenye Uhuru alikuwa anataka kuambia watu wa Central ya kwamba because whenever Uhuru Kenyatta makes statement, you realize that he want people to he want to anger people so that they can now support the William Ruto. So what we are at the point I'm trying to tell you, let these OTM guys don't oversleep because they are sleeping too much. They think Uhuru Kenyatta has no option, he must support Raila. That is not going to happen. Raila Odinga will be dropped, and the guys who are following him, sasa unaweza amini mtu kama Murade ataamuka tu asibuye aseme mimi hata na William Ruto ni rafiki yangu. And then the people will start clapping, alafu maneno itaenda hivyo. Na hata ukiangalia Anna Waiguru, the move that Anna Waiguru took recently, that is strategic. And you never know. Maybe the president told her that hapo ndio kuna uongozi.
Okay.
Who knows?
Haya, nimeona
hapa. Yeye alisema alikuja akasema yeye alisema ati nimekuja kwa sababu nimeona hapa ndio watu wetu wanataka. Na hiyo ndio ukweli because central people they don't believe in Raila. They know very well that Raila anatumia matusi kutukana watu walikuwa na waita hata wezi. So watu wa Central ukiwaambia kwamba William Ruto ni mwizi, utakuwa na wasaidia tu waelewe huyu ni rafiki yao. So to some point, if Musalia Mudavadi, if Uhuru Kenyatta will mean good to support Raila Odinga, then mjue tutakuwa na William Ruto tupende tusipende kama president. Because Western region, for instance Bungoma and Kakamega, Raila Odinga won't get the required support that he used to get in past. Hao watu wamechoka na yeye. Na wakati Musalia Mudavadi atakaa ni kama mtu wa Chachipanga, hao watu wote watapigia William Ruto because ni majarani hapa. Ukiangalia sisi William Ruto mahali anatoka. Ako yeye ndio more neighbor than even Raila Odinga. Because hata Raila Odinga miasa shuka kamba ni vilikuwa naanguka yale furahia tu. Nzoya kusuka kamba ndio yeye na is almost being put under receivership. Pani paper ndio yeye ilianguka. Sasa hii miradi sote multi-billionaires projects zenye amechukua amepeleka Nyanza. Hangesaidia hata kampuni moja ya Western. Sasa tuseme ukweli ya kwamba Uhuru Kenyatta support yake kwa Raila Odinga itakuwa destructive. It won't add any value to presidential bid of Raila Odinga. Na hiyo ndio wanataka kuachieve. Raila Odinga alijiapisha. Raila Odinga alisema Uhuru Kenyatta ni mvuta bangi. Yeye ndiye mtu wa kwanza alituambia. Yeye ndiye alikuwa mtu wa kwanza kutuambia kwamba Anna Waiguru ni mpenzi wa Uhuru Kenyatta. Sasa ni ngumu sana yeye kuongea hizi maneno sote alafu akuja afike mahali ati kwa sababu ya kamkono kusalimiana ati sasa Uhuru Kenyatta anesa low support. I think these people must wake up. They are oversleeping. They must come to the reality that the politics that is being played by the state is highly how can we call it, ni siasa ya hali ya juu.
So, karata mingi.
Lazima wajipange, wasione tu William Ruto anamwambia kila wakati wajipange. Na sisi hatuna reason yoyote ya kusimama na mzee. Mzee this time round kama atatu support sawa, kama atakataa kila mtu apikie mtu wao kura. Rafiki yangu anasema kwamba Musalia Mudavadi hawezi kuwa kiongozi. Ndugu yangu nakwambia, watu wa Western na watu wa Kenya hii wanajua Mudavadi. Ukatupatia Mudavadi na Raila sahi, definitely people will go for Mudavadi, hata watu wa Central. Lakini kwa sababu we have got an equation, someone who have supported Central region, who is William Ruto, you cannot ignore William Ruto in this equation. And when we are going to an election, the first winner, if we are going to have a runoff, don't rule out William Ruto will be amongst the people who will go to a rerun. And he will go to a rerun maybe as a leading contestant, because he has the support of Western Central region. He has the support of Rift Valley.
Sasa
and he has support.
William Ruto.
I'm trying to, when
you cannot sell to
when you analyze politics, you have to face the reality, because I cannot ignore the fact that William Ruto is going to get mountain votes. I cannot ignore the fact that William Ruto has penetrated to some part of Western region, like for instance in Bungoma. When you ask any youth, when you go to that place and ask any youth, whom will you vote for? He will tell you, unless something happen and I get on ballot, Musalia Mudavadi as a serious candidate, I will support William Ruto. That is the fact. And I'm telling you, there's something that will make Musalia Mudavadi start moving. If Musalia Mudavadi start campaigning seriously, and not to campaign in Western region, because you cannot campaign from your home. William Ruto is not campaigning in Rift Valley. Raila Odinga is not campaigning in Central. When you look at Raila is imagining that he will get Western votes by default. That is the kind of sleeping I'm saying. The old man is sleeping, is oversleeping. He is not going to get Western votes by default. He'll have to come and campaign and convince us why he took all the project to Nyanza, and now he's coming with the Azimio la uvunjaji. Because amefunja Jubilee, amefunja hiyo NASA, amekuja huku kwa mirengo zingine. Sasa hatufuati vikundi ya watu, hatuwaende wakitengeneza ajira. About Central region, my friend has talked about funny story about billionaires in Central region. My friend, I want to tell you, when you go to Central region, in fact, the unemployment rate is much higher than the unemployment rate in Western region. So you cannot tell me that these people you are calling billionaires have failed to create employment for their people, and now they are bragging around how they are going to fix the what do we call it? To fix politics for the people of Mountain. The people of Mountain have woken up to the reality. They are subscribed to the idea of bottom up and a kasi in kasi. And that is something that we have to accept. In Western region, people are waiting. If Oka style up and affront Musalia Mudavadi as a candidate, then be assured that we are going to go to a rerun, and Raila Odinga will be number 3 on the race. Because in fact, the endorsement of Uhuru Kenyatta is going to destroy him like there's no tomorrow. Because now people will start looking at him as someone who have just come to facilitate what we call retrogressive ideas. Zile ideas zenye Jubilee walituambia na wameshindwa kufanya, sasa ndizo ndio anakuja kuendeleza.
Haya. Sawa. Masaa zimetuacha kidogo. West Dos Santos Football, good morning, nice show. Asante sana. Adibadi Kibrano team watching from Boston. John Jagi, JB Askwavula isn't Oka made up of small parties. Samuel Jerob, Wafula is fire. MCA Clevos, Tenai Macau, good morning, live from Annex UDA all the way. Samson Jerob, calculated risk indeed. Vision Football Kenya. Bitok, how comes Jack Ma's business Alibaba makes more money than the total GDP of Kenya? It is critical that the government invest on the people to increase the country's economic productivity. Okay, someone Jerop at Vision Tel Kenya, now is kept off football, Kenyan football. Those are, if only my DVD realizes that Oka ties limits him being a host in the 2022 race, the sooner he'll put an elaborate campaign strategy to sell himself. Otherwise, he'll remain A or B, leave alone a donkey. Hi. Grace, come on, good morning to you. Good morning to you, Grace. Good morning. Vision Football Kenya. I predicted from 2017 that when 2022 comes, the president, just like Kibaki, will say he's supporting no one and it's up to the people to make a choice. You can take that to the bank even now. All right. I'd like to take it to the bank. Irene Wanjiku says, good discussion, but some analogies come from political analysts are off. One can't compare a dead or dying political party to a barren woman. The party has been torn up by people. No woman woke up one day and walked towards their own barrenness. All right. I agree with you. Okay. Paul San, I want to apologize to all the women who are watching the tackle. If that was off the curves, we really apologize for that. Poleni. Lewis Kimtai, David Mutai, up to Kondani, Kabisa from Saboti, Asante. David Mutai, the way home to a pizza ice. Karoki Wamasi, good to see you. Karoki Wamasi, good to see you. David anasema stage 4 cancer. Okay, all right. Arab Cheriot Oletue, good morning Bitok. Abraham Kibitok Cheriot tuned in from Machakos County, Lukenya Hills. Why are many people afraid of deep state dynasties and system while Chebukati and IBC have assured Kenyans of free and fair elections? Swalanyeti. Lewis Kimutai Uhuru will be seen as the most stupid president in the entire world to endorse somebody who is idealist like Odinga. Falling from Manchester, UK, David Mutai. Good work, my brother Bitok. Good to see you. Thank you so much, David Mutai, my brother. It's a pleasure to see you supporting us this morning. Lewis Kimtai, even if Raila will be endorsed, Asla movement will show Raila and Uhuru the way. Alright. Okay, Aska Mebur, don't blame Mudavadi. Nishida yake being given leadership on a silver platter. He was removed from a lecture hall and handed over leadership privilege. Bane. Arik Monori, tuned in from Kericho. We need you to have Chief Asla on the show. He's coming in before the year ends. Tutafunga na yeye. Lewis Kimtai, bidoko kupo, we tupe uondo. Asante sana. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. Alfred Mutua, great man Wafula, is making sense in his analysis. John Joroge, I like that guy that I just explained it so well. Ondoyo, good to see you. Apologize on their behalf. There's something I want you guys to try as well. Yeah, sweet tunda. Some red mangoes I got from Sweet Tunda. They're really very delicious. Can talk about it. Sweet tunda. Dried mangoes from Sweet Tunda. No added sugar. Dried fruit chips. Everything that starts ends with natural goodness. From the way we work with small-scale local farmers to selecting the sweetest fruits, generally baking them to seal in all the goodness and exuding confident refined sugar. All the ingredients for delicious, healthy snacking on the go. This is the best snack you can have. This is the best snack you can have. It's a very healthy and as well, no added sugar. Natural fruit that has been dried. You guys can have a bite. Naambia mnasikia namna gani? Nasikiaje?
Nice one.
Local product.
Natural.
Local. Nasikia namna gani? So you can buy an hamper. And challenge you guys, you need to go with a hamper. So the hamper comes with Sweet Tunda. It's a dried mango. It comes with granola. It's a mix of macadamia, mixed seeds and dried mixed fruits as well. Macadamia, nuts, and other seeds. Sunflower, kina nani. Kuna nyingine hapa pia. It comes with macadamia, mixed seeds, and chocolate chips. So if you want a twist of chocolate, only 1,000. I want only 1,000. Only 1,000.
That's good.
For a hamper. So, you guys. Oh, there's another classic again. Yeah, that comes as an extra in the hamper. Macadamia mixes and raisins. Is us raisins. So it turns a twist of raisins. At only 1,000 bob. You can buy it for yourself, or you can buy for someone close to you. You can order as well. Or 0729828820. Lakini nyinyi, you'll have to buy now. All right, ama mjaipenda. Nasikia namna gani Kalistas?
This one, hii iko poa sana.
Ni healthy. Iko utembea na maembe unashaka kwa street. Hii unachukua hata unaweka kwa koti unatoa moja moja.
Yes.
Nasikiaje bwana? Omubunge.
Yeah,
So these local cottages, you can promote them and ensure that they are
expire.
Expiry date, since it's natural and it's well sealed. Best before 2022.
So these are things you can even
24
you can
July.
even freeze.
You don't even need to freeze because it's already sealed.
And it's already sealed.
So ensure that it's preserved for the longest
Just
time.
maintain
But you
the
can replicate, yes. Ensure that it's not. But once you open, you need to try and consume as quickly as possible. Yeah. So make sure you buy.
Nice.
Okay.
Get one. And this will keep you healthy. Breakfast, amazing breakfast. This natural breakfast. Hii mambo ya kung'ang'ana na mikate. Will keep you on the run. So, I know I already have 2 ampers from you guys. Ama namna gani? Omubunge. Local cottages. All right. It's been a pleasure having you guys on the show this morning. It's been the Siasa Wednesday of the 17th of November 2021. Na tumekuwa na Odweyo, tumekuwa na Kalistas, na tumekuwa na Mwishendu kidogo ambaye amekimbia, kuna emergency kidogo. It's been a pleasure having you. Kama uko na maswali, unaweza tusukumia. Tuonane kesho kwenye Diaspora Edition na Sankok, David Sankok na Farah Maalim. Kesho kama nitaingia kazi kidogo kwenye Diaspora Edition, kana Joel Rama tutakuwa pamoja kesho kwenye Diaspora Edition. David Sankok is coming in and Farah Maalim, former senator. It's a pleasure having you and wish you a very good day. This is a tackle and it ends now. Bye bye.